And I'm Michael.
And this is Prospects for Success podcast, where we bring you our thoughts on Prospect League baseball.
News, notes, opinions, and our favorite happenings.
Thanks for joining us for episode 1.
Okay, so we may have some listeners who aren't familiar with Prospect League baseball. This is a summer league for college players with a 60-game, 10-week season. They use wood bats in this league, and these college players come from D1 to NAIA schools. No more than 4 players from the same college play on one team, so you get a great mix of players.
For the 2022 season, there are 16 teams across 7 states: Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia.
We'll get back to that just a little later, but right now let's get into our thoughts and predictions leading up to the 2022 Prospect League season.
Let's do it.
All right, first question. I think we ought to start off with the big one. Who do you think will win each division, and then who's going to win the Prospect League championship? Let's start out in the West with the Great River division. Now that's the Burlington Bees, the Clinton Lumber Kings, the Normal Corn Belters, and the Quincy Gems. Who do you see coming out of the Great River division?
Well, I gotta go with the Quincy Gems. They've been looking really good past 2 years. They're just a great team, have a great organization. I gotta go with the Quincy Gems.
Quincy's always really strong. They are one of 2 teams in Prospect League history that have 3 league titles. So they're always pretty strong. So Quincy's a good team, but I tell you, I really like what I have seen out of the Normal Corn Belters. And so, I mean, there's going to be some people who are probably going to think I'm crazy for this, but I'm gonna go with Normal, the Corn Belters coming out of the Great River division this year. Let's move on to the Prairie Land division now, still in the Western Conference. Prairie Land division is the Alton River Dragons, the Cape Catfish, the O'Fallon Hoots, and this year the Springfield, Missouri, Lucky Horseshoes. Who do you see coming out of the Prairie Land division?
Well, I mean, we've seen some great games for O'Fallon Hoots. They've been really good for the past couple years. They've been in, Prospect League baseball, but I gotta say Cape Catfish. 2 years they've been in the division. They lost in the finals. First time they played in Prospect to the Chillicothe Paints, but won it again last year. So, they're staying strong. They're a good team, good coaches, good staff. Gotta go with Cape Catfish.
Yeah, it's so hard to say that the Catfish are not going to repeat. There's something about a good organization in this league that carries a team, that can really help carry a team a long way. They're established. They're an attractive place for players to go, so they get some really good players with the Catfish. But I'm gonna go kind of off the beaten path on this one. I think the most entertaining team and the most entertaining stadium experience out of all these teams is going to be the Springfield Lucky Horseshoes. If you have not checked out their website or anything like that coming up, this is going to be an experience. All right, these guys are going to put on a great show. And if I'm picking somebody out of this, I mean, you've already taken the Catfish on this one.
I'm having trouble.
You've already taken the Catfish on this one, so I'm gonna go with the Springfield Lucky Horseshoes. I think the Springfield Lucky Horseshoes are coming out of the Prairie Land division on this one. All right, so that takes care of the West. So let's jump to the East now, which we're probably a little more familiar with, and let's take a look at the Wabash River division, which is Danville, Illinois Valley, Lafayette, and Terre Haute. Who do we see coming out of there?
Well, I mean, I would say Danville. They're a great team. They got some really cool coaches. Got to meet some of the players. They got some really good, strong pitching. Say mid-90s, 80s. But I'm going to have to say Lafayette. I mean, even though they lost in the semifinals, they're still a really tough team to play against. They're going to probably come out on top.
Man, see, this is where I gotta quit letting you go first because you're taking my pick every time. um, the format with this is really unique because they take the first half winner and the second half winner, and they get a 1-game playoff. Lafayette they seem like they really come out of the box strong. I mean, it would not surprise anybody at all for Lafayette to open up this season and win like 12 straight games, right? And by the time you do that, you feel like you've pretty much got the first half sewn up. So no matter what happens in the second half, you've got a 1-game playoff that you're going to be in at the end of the second half, and so you can afford to save some guys. And so, Lafayette could benefit from a situation like that. This year, though, pitching carries you a long way. When you've got really good pitching ready to go, that beats hitting in this league. When you don't have great pitching, the hitting will take care of itself in this league. So this year, I'm actually going to go with the Danville Dans. I think Danville is going to come out of the Wabash River division on top this year. I feel like it's going to be their year. They've really got some great stuff going. And so I'm anxious to see what Danville can put together. All right, so now here it is. This is the big one. Especially for us, the Ohio River Valley division. When it really comes right down to it, hey, this is the only division that really matters, right? Yeah. Yeah. All right. So the Ohio River Valley division. This is Champion City, Chillicothe, Johnstown, and West Virginia. Surprise us, Quenton. Who do you think is going to come out of the Ohio River Valley Conference as the champs this year?
Well, actually, I've had some thinking to do because last year really didn't go our year. I mean, we started off strong, and the first half, we had some guys that had to go home, and then, Johnstown just got some really good players and kind of took care of the division on the second half, looking strong. Champion City also looking strong. Chillicothe looking strong. So it's probably gonna come down to who wins the most games out of the four teams. But, I mean, come on. West Virginia, yeah, they were good a couple years back, and, Tim was trying to do his best, trying to get some guys, but it's not really going for him. So I'm gonna have to say Johnstown.
Yeah. Okay. This is gonna be an interesting one because both Johnstown and Chillicothe are coming into this season with new coaches. All right. Both of those are teams that didn't really burn it up at the beginning of last season, but they turned it on late. Both teams really turned it on late and made a contest out of it and made it a really super competitive division. Well, same thing is happening this year. Chillicothe is going to have a brand new coach. Johnstown's going to have a brand new coach this year. West Virginia, Tim Epling's been coaching the West Virginia Miners since West Virginia became a state. So it would absolutely kill my soul to say that I think Champion City is going to win this division. I think Champion City wins the first half. But I think by then, I think both Chillicothe and Johnstown get it figured out, and they get a good feel for their players and how they're going to have to manage game to game. I think any of these teams can win one game. So, I mean, any of these teams get to that 1-game playoff, then it's totally up for grabs. If West Virginia can keep a good core of players for the entire season, I think they win. But I don't see that happening. I think Champion City wins the first half. I think Chillicothe wins the second half, and Chillicothe wins that playoff game. So I see Chillicothe coming out of the Ohio River Valley Conference. So out of all those teams, let's go back and with what your picks were. Who wins the Prospect League Championship in 2022? Quenton, who do you got?
Well, I hate to say it, out of the teams that I feel like would win, of the top of their division, teams could, surprise us. You got really great teams here, but who do I think is going to win it all? I mean, come on, it has to come down to the three teams. Lafayette, Champion City, Cape Catfish. But out of those three, I'm going to have to say Lafayette.
Yeah, my heart wants to say Chillicothe. My head says Danville is going to win their first Prospect League title this year. So if you're asking my heart, I'm saying Chillicothe wins their third, so that they can get up there with the Miners and the Gems with their third title. But if I'm doing this with my head, I think Danville wins their first one. All right. So there you have it. There's our picks for who's going to win the divisions and the Prospect League Championship this year. That is what we're looking at. So we'll check back on that at the end of the first half and then at the end of the season and see how we're doing with our picks. Let's go on to another question, because this really is about an experience for these players. These are college players who've already had a full college season. They're coming to play a 60-game season, Wood Bat League. Maybe they're learning a new position. Maybe they're getting some extra work in. Maybe they're just putting some film together of them playing in a very competitive league like this and swinging a wood bat so that you can get some, get in front of some scouts. So since this really is about a player experience too, what player are you most looking forward to seeing play this season?
Well, you got some really good pitchers, catchers even. But, I got my eye on a pitcher.
From
West Virginia.
Okay.
He's from Cincinnati. Nathan Riddle. He's, coming out of Cincinnati.
Coleraine High School.
Yeah.
Very big baseball school.
Very big baseball school, If I really had to guess, he's going to come out strong for a couple games for the Miners. Finish strong, play right, get his pitching situated. He's going to start out strong, finish as always.
I like that pick. I really do. I mean, as much as it's going to hurt seeing him in a West Virginia Miners uniform, I think with what happened with West Virginia last year, and they were just absolutely desperate for anybody who could pitch towards the end of the season last year. I think Epling is really going to work hard to keep a strong group of pitchers going, and I think Nathan has a really good chance to be a big part of that. So I'm with you on that. I'll tell you who I'm really looking forward to seeing though this year for me for Chillicothe is Ben Gabor. Dude was absolutely crushing the ball once he kind of got used to the Prospect League and how it worked. Started seeing the ball just really well. And there's just a different sound to it sometimes when Ben really lights into one. I'm really looking forward to seeing him come back and see what he can do as part of the Paints this year. So Riddle for you for the Miners, Gabor and you never know, it might be really early in the season that those two are gonna hook up. Gabor might end up coming to bat facing Riddle on the mound, and we'll have to see who comes out on top in that little confrontation. All right, let's keep going now as we continue with our 2022 prospect season preview here. there are some different rules that they play by. I mean, they tend to play pretty much by college rules in this league, but there are some differences that they do. And so, if there is one rule, if we made you Prospect League commissioner for a day, what's the first rule that you would change?
First rule I would change. Well, I wouldn't have 4 divisions. I would, keep it straight and simple. Keep 2 divisions.
You're just going to do 8 and 8.
Yep.
And the top teams out of those.
Because to me, it doesn't really make sense on why you would have 4 teams and 4 divisions. Like, just keep it simple.
I do. I like that idea. It's tougher on travel, especially for the East, where there's more distance between the teams. It's definitely helpful for West Virginia to play most of their games against the teams that are the closest to them, especially with, as we say this, regular unleaded gas is like $4.50 a gallon around here. Diesel is even higher than that. It's going to cost these teams a fortune to fuel the buses that they take from town to town this year, okay? And that's probably something that they weren't planning on when the season ended last year. So there might, if they went to just a straight 8 and 8, it might make some more extended road trips than they tend to have right now. But I like the idea that you're probably gonna see more teams in the stadium, in the closest stadium to you, whatever is your home team. You're gonna see more teams come in and play. That's nice. As nice as it is to see the same guys from Johnstown or Champion City come in a lot. Yeah, I would love to see, I would love to see some of the other teams from that we don't get to see at all, who are also in the East. Like, we see, we probably see Danville once. We see Lafayette once or twice. We see Terre Haute once or twice. It would be really cool to see some of those other teams come through Chillicothe, so that we can get a little more taste of them. So I like that rule change. I know there would be some problems with it, but I still think that's a great rule change. My rule change would be that, now I think this is right. I tried to look this up earlier, and that you may remember this, for that 1-game playoff, the first half winner hosts the second half winner. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm still, if they stick with the 4 teams in a division. First of all, I don't like the 1-game playoff. I really don't like the 1-game playoff at all. But I understand you got to get the playoffs in really quick. You're playing 60 games across 10 weeks. So you got to get the playoffs done quick. I think my rule change would be, yes, the first half winner and the second half winner make the playoffs, but the home team out of that should be the team that had the best overall record. I think that would help prevent some first half teams from, some first half winning teams from just absolutely coasting down the stretch and saving their best player. You could rest your best players for 3 days before that last play-in game, where the other teams may be scrapping really hard to win that second half, and they got nobody left by the time you get to that last game. I think if you make it the top record gets to host that game, then potentially at least that first half winner still has something they have to play for, because you really want that 1 game. If it's going to be a 1-game play-in, you want that game to be at home. You want your home crowd, and you want the advantage of batting last that gives you. So That's what we would change if we were Prospect League. When you see this podcast on Anchor, there is a button there for you to leave a message for us. Let us know who your picks are for this year. Let us know what rule you would change for this year. And we have one more bonus question that we want to answer before we are finished today. The Prospect League is expanding. Okay, the teams they're up to 16 teams now, and we understand that there's more coming, that they're looking at other places to expand into. So I thought it'd be fun for us to talk real quick about what city should have a Prospect League team that does not already have one. Quenton, what do you think?
Well, down here in Ohio, I really think we should get a team in Akron. I mean, yeah, sure, it's a little bit farther than Chillicothe, but maybe it'll save a bus trip for Chillicothe, get a few games in down there for Akron, for West Virginia, so they don't have to travel as much. Even Springfield, maybe,
I love it. I love the idea of Akron having a team. It's a college town already. It might open you up to getting more players from MAC schools that either play for Akron or come and visit Akron during a MAC season. I think we get a lot of really fun players from the MAC when we get them. I would love to see the Prospect League push up into the northern part of Ohio too. I think Akron is a great pick. I do, but I have another idea for a team, and it's also in Ohio, and I think Portsmouth, Ohio, would be a great place for a Prospect League team. I don't think it's too close to Chillicothe that it would take fans away. I think Chillicothe has a great fan base already. I don't think you're going to take anything away from their fan base by putting a team in Portsmouth. And also, I think Portsmouth has shown across its history that there is a history there of being able to support baseball. There is a college in the town. Shawnee State is already there in Portsmouth. And Quenton, I don't know if you knew this or not, but your favorite MLB team once played a team from Portsmouth in an exhibition game and played them in Portsmouth. I had to go back and look this up because I had heard this, but I wasn't sure if it was really true. September 23rd, 1913, it was an off day for the Chicago Cubs. They actually went to Portsmouth and played an exhibition game with they were called the Portsmouth Champs. Now, I guess before that they were called either the Shoemakers or the Cobblers. But after they won a league championship, they started calling themselves the Portsmouth Champs. So, I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you? At the time, Al Bridwell, who was a Portsmouth native, was playing shortstop for the Cubs. And so Portsmouth made a big deal out of it. They declared the day Al Bridwell Day. Now, the previous day, September 22nd, was a doubleheader. Chicago played against the Phillies in Chicago. September 24th, they had a game in Pittsburgh. So, of course, in 1913, what does a pro team want to do on their day off? Play another game, right? So the Cubs actually played a game in Portsmouth. So since Major League Baseball has been in Portsmouth before, I think it's time for Prospect League Baseball to hit Portsmouth again. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty interesting to see a Prospect League team, go to Portsmouth. It would be pretty interesting to see a team come and play in Portsmouth.
All right, so there it is. There's our opening season wrap up. As of the time that we're recording this, the beginning of the season is just 1 week away. Can't believe it's already time for Prospect League Baseball to get here. The best 10 weeks of the year. The Prospect League season getting ready to start. And we are thrilled for it. We hope you are too. We've made our picks. We've talked about some of the players we want to see. We've even kind of talked about some rules that we would change, some places we'd like to see Prospect League expand into. When you're listening to this podcast, please check that out. Check us out at prospectsforsuccess.org. That's our website. You can get our podcast on all the popular platforms there. Subscribe, leave us a message. We would love to hear from you. We would love to see you at the ballpark. Anything else you want to leave everybody with before we go, Quenton?
Well, I just want you guys to know that we're looking forward to seeing you guys and listening, watching, hopefully start a fan base. We're really looking forward into coming into this summer. We've been talking about this for quite a long time now, and we are looking forward to answering some of your guys' questions.
We've got some surprises planned this year. Hopefully we're going to be able to have some guests. Hopefully we can able to do some on-site stuff at some of the stadiums. We'd like to hit at least a couple different stadiums this year that are in our area. We'll talk more about that as the season gets underway. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 1 of the Prospects for Success podcast. We'll see you at the ballpark.